everybody, I hope you enjoyed that little intro sequence I made. If you're new around here, my name's Finn Badgley. I'm a commercial fashion portrait photographer who also has been known to dabble in some cinematography and video. And today I wanted to kind of give you some tips of how you can up your product videos, how you can up your B-roll with this simple trick. Now, this isn't a gimmick, this isn't a hack or anything like that, really. It's just a tried and true way that you can make your videos more dynamic. So I have some behind the scene footage, which you'll see right here, that basically you can see I'm going through, and what I've done is set up these pair of glasses. I'm not sponsored by Oakley, these are my Oakley glasses, and I just thought they were cool and would work for this video. Now that said, if Oakley, you see this and you like what you see, my email's down below. I'd love to do something together. But that aside, you see a lot of B-roll and product video tricks that involve camera moves and this and that, the other thing. But what's often neglected is moving the actual light itself. And this is a technique that can give you really dynamic footage. It's used everywhere from on Hollywood sets to commercial product videos and everything in between. It's a way that if you're showcasing something using B-roll, this is a technique that can level that up. Now also you'll notice in that footage that there's some camera movement in there. I shot these all on 4K so that when I would export it at 1080, I could add that dynamic motion in post. I was trying to show all of you a very simple setup that you could do today with very little cost up front. All I did was have my camera on a tripod, and then I set up an Apple box, and as you can see I took some black cloth that I had, draped it over it, creating something of a backdrop, and then took a light stand, and yes, I'm using some grip equipment here with a Cardellini clamp and all that kind of stuff to hold this. But you can use this with a myriad of different things, fishing wire, you could rig it together in your own way. Now, you don't have to shoot this with a black background. I just did that because it fit with the style of the product I was shooting, and it lended itself to that. But you could do this on pretty much any background in existence. You could use this with ambient light, without ambient light. There's a couple clips here that I'll insert where I have my key light, my light panel set up, which is what I usually use to light myself for these. And I just have that dimmed down, and because my smaller light panel, which I have a teal gel on, that I also felt lended itself to the style and color of the product. So these are things that you can consider when doing this yourself. But that said too, it doesn't need to be glasses or anything like that that you use for your products. I also shot a bit of footage of some headphones, so I'm gonna include that right here. You can see I didn't have a gel on the light this time, and that's just because I felt like having it gel didn't really work as well with the style of the product this time. And you're gonna find that with every different situation you come up against, whether you want to gel the lights, if you don't want to, or if you're using an RGB light and you want to dial in the color so it fits a specific theme or goes along with a specific style. You'll also notice in the behind the scenes footage that I turned all the lights off, and that's just so that way there's no color cast from any of the lights and there's no light spill coming in from any of that. Also, with the glasses having glass on them, you can get some specular highlights in there, and nobody likes that. It just kind of ruins the whole look and feel of everything. Now, this example that I did on a budget to show you that you don't need a lot for this. I used a fairly inexpensive light panel to make some ambient light, and I used an even more inexpensive light panel to use as my accent light. I had a black cloth as a backdrop, and I shot this all right in my home. You don't need a lot of space nor a lot of equipment to do this. Now sure, my camera shoots 4K and I added some motion and post in there, but that's just because I wanted to add a little extra something to it. And if you have motorized sliders or anything, you can use these two to move the product itself, anything like that. But that said, you can do this on even more of a budget. You can use the flashlight on your phone and just kind of sweep it over the product to get that nice, smooth transition of light. This is used all the time. Watch commercials, phone commercials, whether it be for the iPhone, Samsung, whatever. These techniques are used all the time. It isn't necessarily always just the product that's moving or the camera. Sometimes it's the camera, the product, and the light. Sometimes it's just the light. All these things can come together to really up your footage and make it look more professional, immersive, and dynamic. And depending on the mood that you're going for, you can move the light quickly, you can move the light slowly. All of these things come together to create the look and feel that you're really going for. And don't get me wrong, this technique doesn't work for everything, and I'm not suggesting you use it for everything. This is just something that I haven't really seen anybody talk about that is a good and effective way to level up your footage and get your videos to that next level. Give them an extra little something. And it especially will make a difference because you don't see a lot of people doing it. So it'll kind of set you apart and give you a bit of a creative edge. Now you might be asking yourself, okay, but I'm only one person. How can I shoot this with just me? A camera on a tripod, shooting at a higher resolution so I could crop in post. If you guys have cameras that do shoot 4K or anything, then you can do the same thing. Sure, you're not going to be outputting in 4K, but a lot of times everything we see is 1080 anyways. So with that in mind, you can do this on your own. You can set up a product or anything. And even if you're in the shot too, if you get close enough, you can move your other arm, moving the light, making it more dynamic. Here's the other thing too, if you're shooting with multiple people, if you have friends or anyone that can assist you, that's when maybe you're moving the camera. You have an assistant or a friend moving the light, and then you have the subject itself, which gives you all of these techniques coming together to create an absolutely amazing and immersive shot. And also, I think it's important to note that context is important here too. If you're shooting somebody making coffee in the morning, you're probably not going to be moving the light a whole lot because it doesn't make sense contextually. And you can do this on a small scale like I've shown here. You can do it on a large scale, which myself and I know a lot of other professionals have actually used on set to create a dynamic image that immerses you in it and makes it believable. Alright, so that's a very easy, simple, and inexpensive way to level up your B-roll, level up your product videos that you can get started with today. Like I said, just use a flashlight. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. Show some love to that like button. Comment down below if this is the type of thing you like to see, if you want to see more of it in the future. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos. And I'll see you on the next one. So, partway into shooting this video, I realized there's a fan right beside me that I had on for sound purposes. Turn off your fans and stuff. Also, one of my neighbors is playing music, so if you hear a little undertone of that, this is what happens when you film during the day and there are people living their lives. It's a thing. So we're gonna roll with it. This is why the camera is rolling. It was a joke.